Can You Have It by Linkin Park. At the end I'm going to have a quick word about the guitar player from Linkin Park and the tuning in this song, but if you want to stay tuned for that, feel free. If you just want to get into playing the riff, I'll deal with that first if you don't want to be bored with me rambling on. So when I mentioned the tuning, we can use the E flat tuning, so I'll put a link to that. I've done a little video on that. So basically we're just tuning all the strings down by a half step. For the sake of practice, it doesn't matter if you're just playing along to yourself. You can use your standard tuning, but to play along you need to play an E flat. I'll explain why the quirks are afterwards, like I say. This is quite a simple little riff. It's all played on one string and there's only actually 3 notes, so the actual learning of it shouldn't be a problem. A couple of challenges that you might find are the rhythm for the picking and the palm muting technique. I'll probably put a link to my palm muting technique video as well if you're not familiar with palm muting. So to start with, we'll learn the notes. As I say, it's really simple, there's only 3 of them. So we're all on the D string. All the notes we're going to play are on the D string. I'm going to start off at the 10th fret. And then we're also going to use 13th fret and 11th fret. So the pattern basically is that the sequence of the notes is 2 notes on the 10th fret, 1 on the 13th fret, and 2 more on the 10th fret. Again, 2 on the 10th fret, 1 on the 11th fret, then 2 more on the 10th fret. So it's quite a simple piece. The first challenge you might find is just getting the rhythm right. It's not just straightforward count notes. Because that's not going to sound right. We have to get the rhythm right. I'll put a link for the probably for the Songsterr as well, so you can hear it rather than just the tab. You won't need the tab, it's just a case of just getting those notes played in the right rhythm. Like that. The second thing I mentioned is the palm muting. Now, palm muting is all about feel, and it's about muting those strings off using the palm of your picking hand. Now, when I say feel, if we're to play the notes open with no muting at all, if I was to play full-on heavy metal thrash palm muting down really heavily, that's not going to sound right. It's going to sound percussive and not melodic, as you can see. So the trick with the muting is to find just that point where you want to do your muting. It's going to be down near the bridge of the guitar, and that pressure point, how much you're going to be putting on with your hand. Experiment. If it starts sounding too, just back it off a little bit until it sounds a little bit more melodic, but not ringing out too much. Maybe just practice on that 10th fret note until you get the muting in the right place. Should be fairly straightforward. Now, I mentioned at the start I want to have a quick word about the tuning that's actually used on this song. That's one of the things. So the tuning on this song, I said we can do it in the E flat tuning. We can do that because all the notes are on that string, that D string. It's actually a D flat string, but they're all on one string. So the actual tuning, the exact tuning that they're using, doesn't matter. What they are actually using, Linkin Park, is drop E flat tuning. So as well as tuning down to E flat, he's also tuning his low string down a full tone as well. That's called drop tuning. I'll cover that in another video. I've never mentioned that before. That's a totally different tuning technique that will affect your chords, and that'll mean you've got to adopt a slightly different playing technique for some of the things that you're going to play. But on this actual riff, just for this riff, we don't need to worry about dropping down that sixth string because we're not using it, so it doesn't matter anyway. So I'll cover that in another video. The second thing I said I'd talk about very quickly is the guitar player, Brad Delson. The reason I want to mention him, the Linkin Park guitar player, is he is an example of one of those guitar players that is totally not flash. He just seems to do whatever fits the song, like that riff, for example, 3 notes on 1 string, that plays through for probably 70% of the entire song, and they sold millions of records just off that. So it just goes to show you don't have to be a super flash, flying all over the place guitar player to be a good guitar player. A lot of players like him, he's not the only one. They're very underrated. I'm a massive fan of Linkin Park, even though it's not my normal sort of music. I'm normally into my super fast, showy solos and listening to players who are really, really good guitar players, but you have to play what fits the song. If he was playing solos all over the place, it would not fit the song. So for that reason, respect to Brad Delson from Linkin Park, to play just what goes along with the song and makes a song sound better. There's no ego, it just whatever works to make the overall picture, the bigger picture of the song work nicely, and he's a great guitarist for doing that. It also, the other benefit from playing riffs like that, with it being so simple, if you ever watch Linkin Park live shows, he doesn't have to stare down and concentrate on what he's doing with his notes all the time. He's got time to look out into the audience. So it's more fun to play as well, because you don't have to sweat over what you're playing. You can enjoy interacting with the crowd and his other band members and things like that. So Brad Delson, Linkin Park, very underrated guitar player. Practice this riff, it's good technique. Pick it however you want to pick it. Get your palm muting at the right level so it's not too muted, not too open. And if you're just playing along to yourself, just doing this for practice, don't even worry about the tuning. Whatever you do, enjoy.